Yeah, we're rolling.
Rolling.
Hello.
Hey,
Welcome
guys.
in, everybody. We are Steve and Bethany. We're getting ready for episode number 38 of this
38.
fine podcast that should, at some point, be award-winning. You know, I would think so.
I mean,
at some point.
are there like award shows for
There's
podcasts?
all kinds of award shows for podcasts.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know any of that.
They don't mean anything, but
Probably not. We should just create our own award show.
That would be fun.
We'd win every year.
That would be fun. We should do something like that.
Before we hit record here, Steve brought up the meme that's been going around with Bernie Sanders, how he has his hands like this at the inauguration. And you brought up, I did not know this, but apparently there is a monastery in Arkansas.
Yes.
And they have
Arkansas.
an Instagram account.
Yes.
And they posted a picture of all of their monks, and then Bernie Sanders is in the background.
Well, and not only
they created their own meme.
Yeah, and not only did they create the meme, they created a whole story to go along with it.
I love
about
that.
Bernie Sanders joining the monastery.
I didn't know Arkansas was. I feel like, I don't know. When I think of monasteries, I think of them like they've been around. Like a monastery to me has to be founded in like the 1300s, or it's not a monastery. I didn't know we had that here in Arkansas.
Yeah, and I didn't really realize it unless it was about, I don't know, I forget how many years ago. It's been a few years ago now. But my parents and I were on our way to Mountain Magazine, which most people know is the highest point in Arkansas.
It's beautiful.
Right? Well, on the way there, you pass through Subiaco.
Okay.
And right there's the monastery. And they, it's what you think a monastery is. I mean, it's old.
Really?
Yes. It's, we should do a road trip to the monastery.
I won't be allowed there, but.
Why?
Do they let women in?
I think so. I think
that's what makes it a monastery is that there's no women.
Well, I don't know. Well, but they have a store where they sell stuff.
You should. This is a good idea though. This could be an episode. It could be like Steve becomes a monk for a day, and you just go and see how they live, see what they do, see like how they make different things, how the store runs. I think this is a good idea.
It could be fun.
You would love the robe, if anything. Don't they wear robes, right?
Yes,
they were wearing
they
them
look
in the
like
picture.
Supreme Court justices.
They do, and I think you would find that very comfortable.
Oh, I'm sure I would.
I mean, very relaxing.
Well, what do you wear under the robe is what I'm wanting to know.
I think
especially in the hot summer months.
Do
they go commando? Do they just go completely? Just completely like little collar. And everything else.
Surely not. Surely not. I don't need to think about this. But I think that they would just wear their normal stuff. I feel like probably a lot of them have gym shorts under there.
Well, yeah,
or
probably.
Sweatpants in the wintertime.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think so.
I do know they make some really good hot sauce because that's one of my deals.
You love hot sauce.
I love collecting it from different places, right? And so when we went up there, my dad actually stopped by, and I don't know how he knew there was hot sauce at Subiaco Monastery.
Yeah.
But he did, and he went and bought some for both of us.
Can you tour the monastery? I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
I would love to know what's going on.
And I know
in there.
you said you looked it up and said it was something about 1800s, but
That's when I saw.
I know there is a sign out there that says something about 1750, which is before the founding of the nation.
Surely not.
I know it is. I've been there like twice. I've been past it twice. I know that's what it says. I know
what were monks doing out this way before the country was founded?
Well, I don't know.
I don't think that's true.
I don't know. I don't know what they were doing, but I'm sure they were trying to spread the gospel in their own way.
If you said 18 something, I think I would buy that. I don't know about 17.
No, I'm telling you, it was 17 something because it caught my eye.
Yeah.
It was like that's a long time. Because you figure 1800s, well, that's the middle of the Civil War era, the whole thing. But no, this was 17 something. I'm telling you, I know I saw 17.
I don't know. I just think that would be fascinating. I just want to know, what's going on? What are the daily occurrences of a monk? You need to go. You need to sign up. They have a sign up on their website, Become a Monk. And they have a website where you can go and sign up to be a monk. I think you need to. But you need to put a little caveat in there. This is just a social experiment. I just want to see how you live, learn a bit about you. And
can we bring our cameras?
Yeah, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my wife at the end of the day. I think that's what you need to put in there.
Well, I know. Well, I don't know. I guess all monks have to be, not married.
Yeah,
right?
they can't
Are
get
you
married.
sure?
I'm
pretty
sure.
I don't know what it means to be a monk necessarily.
Well, I'm thinking because nuns in a convent, obviously they can't get married. So
Right.
I think the same applies for monks.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah,
hopefully with you, they take a vow of silence. That would be a real challenge for you. I'm hoping.
All right, let's. So we're going to check into that, and that would be a fun road trip.
That would be hilarious.
And we can put it on our YouTube channel, and of course, all of you Patreon will get it as well. Oh, and something else that for you guys on Patreon, Bethany has written a really good devotional kind of piece. We're going to send that out. Plus, I'm going to add to it myself, just for our backstage access, full access, $15 a month tier.
Yep.
We'll be getting that. We'll send that out this week. So be looking for that on the Patreon website itself, patreon.com/Stephen Bethany's Hopecast. Okay, so that's the pre-show, I think, right?
Yeah,
Do we need to cover anything else? All right, let's get started here. Welcome to Stephen Bethany's Hopecast.
It's your weekly dose of hope, encouragement, and a whole lot of fun.
Let's get to it.
It's episode 38.
All right, welcome in hope dealers from all over the world. Well, you know, I say that every week, right?
You do.
And I was looking at our statistics just the other day. Canada loves us.
Really?
We are huge in Canada. And not just like one city, but like 2 or 3 different cities and provinces and things.
Ooh.
Yes.
Well,
I was very surprised
Canada.
pleasantly. Yes, I do too.
Before COVID all started, my husband and I were in serious talks to go up to Canada as like an anniversary type trip. I mean, we've been married a few years. We thought, well, hey, let's take another vacation, just us two. Because normally we go on vacation with our families and things like that.
Right.
But it's been a while since we've taken just a trip with us two. And so we were in serious talks about going to Canada. And then we were like, okay, COVID's going to be around for a while. We better not go anywhere.
The thing I've heard the most about Canada is you want to go to Western Canada. Over there, just kind of go to like California and just go north.
And just go up.
Yes.
Okay.
British Columbia is supposed to be breathtakingly beautiful.
So I've heard really good things about, is it Banff? It's like, I need to find a picture of it. Anyways, it's stunning. I have a couple friends that have been there and they still like post pictures about their vacation because of how gorgeous it was.
What I've heard
looks like paintings.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
What I've heard the most is like the eastern side of Canada, almost like New York or a bigger metropolitan city kind of thing like that, which is beautiful. A lot of stuff there too.
Right.
But it's the western half for the scenic stuff is what I've heard.
That's good to know.
So,
and maple syrup all around.
There you go. Well, I guess so. And hockey.
Of course,
maple
I love both.
Well,
so
there you go.
This is good.
There you go. So
maybe I'm a Canadian and I just don't know it.
Yeah. So we appreciate everybody in Canada. We appreciate all of you, no matter where you're at around the world, joining us here as we are underway on episode 38, and we're going to be talking today about honoring God as a parent.
Yeah. And I think this is going to be interesting because I am not a parent. I don't have kids right now, and so I think this will be interesting. Just hearing really more from you because you have 3 kids and your experience, but then also, just things that I think I can learn, kind of keep in the back of my mind before Cody and I have kids and, before we kind of enter into that stage of life, learning from you. And then also I want to hear from the listeners kind of what they've learned in their years of parenting as well.
We're going to throw that out on our Facebook group and get some comments and some parenting advice from our folks on our Facebook group. And by the way, if you're not a part of it, please join us. Yeah, it's just facebook.com and then look for the groups, Stephen Bethany's Hopecast, and it's real simple. Now it's a private group, which I still don't understand the difference between private and public. I mean, I know obviously what private and public mean, but I don't know why it's one way or the other.
Did you make it that way?
That's the only way it would set up. Oh. So I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to change it or something, but I don't want to. Yes. Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. There's no like standard. There's no bar you have to meet. All you have to do is want to be in and you're in. So we ask that you join us, and we've got a link in the show notes so you can click on it and join us. But we'll have some chances for you to respond to coming up on parenting and how you can honor God with your parenting.
And another fun thing that we're doing too is we're giving away an Amazon gift card. And so if you want, you can sign up to win that at our website. It's just StephenBethany.com. There's a little kind of link there right at the front page. You can click on that and sign up. And so we're doing a giveaway just to kind of get to know you and, bring you into the community of the Hopecast and just get to know everybody a little bit better.
Who doesn't love Amazon?
I mean, it's Amazon. Come on. Yeah.
It is, exactly. So, and again, not only StephenBethany.com, but there's the link in the show notes as well. So go ahead and check that out and sign up because we're going to be giving that away in a couple more weeks.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Okay, so I want to tell you this story. This is something that happened to me last week. And I know this has nothing to do with parenting. This is just a little sliver into my life. This is just my therapy time. Okay, listen. So I want you to tell me if you think this is weird or not.
Okay.
Okay. So I was at the gym last week.
Go ahead.
I was at the gym last week. Thank you. I feel very soothed. I was at the gym last week. And the gym that I go to is like 2 levels. So there's like a downstairs area where they have classes and it's a little bit more open. And then the upstairs area where they have actual like gym equipment, right? So I go downstairs. I'm down there. I go to the class, blah, 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 blah. It's great. I go back upstairs and I see at the top of the stairs a cat with no tail just sitting there. And I kind of looked at it and I was just like, there's a cat in the gym. Like, what is this? So I walk past it. The cat, of course, is making eye contact with me the whole time. It was very uncomfortable. And I'm not a cat person. I know I might offend some people with that. I don't have anything against them. I just don't want them in my home. But not really in the gym either. I didn't think that was particularly appropriate. It kind of threw me off.
Yeah, I know.
But I walked past it. And then that was when I noticed a sign that says, if you're not an animal person, this gym's not for you, on the front door. I'd never noticed it before. And that's what this gym's had posted. And it made me think, I was like, is this like a daycare area for animals? Do they have that as well as a gym? Like, well, what is this? How did the cat get in? Whose cat is it? What's happening?
I don't know.
Weird or not weird?
Well, no, that's kind of strange. I think that is kind of strange.
That's where I lean.
Because here's my thing about cats. I don't think they have any integrity.
No.
I just don't think that they do. And I know people will disagree with me on that. But look, here's the thing with cats.
There's exceptions to every rule.
But I don't think so with cats. Because here's the reason why. Okay, here's the scenario. Let's imagine you're at home, right? You've got your cat there. And the cat is, doing its cat thing.
Yeah.
Middle of the night, somebody breaks in the house. What's the cat going to do?
Nothing.
The cat is going to watch everything that happens and not make a move.
Not do anything.
Not even say a word, not purr, not do it. What's your dog going to do? Your dog at least will bark. Yeah. Your dog will at least say, hey, somebody's here. Whether it's a good something or bad.
Right.
The dog may lick the person to death, but still.
Yeah.
He or she's going to do something. A cat's just going to watch you get robbed.
True.
And I just have no belief in a cat.
That's
I have
true.
no
faith
trust
in
in a cat. So
that's true.
I don't think that those animals are friendly when you really get down to it. I think they do use people. I think they have that kind of, what can you do for me? It's a very one-way kind of operation, one-way street.
That's true. I am very much leaning towards a dog, but I think a dog in the gym would have made me uncomfortable as well. Yeah, it raised a lot of questions.
Especially, without a tail, what's up with that?
Well, yeah, I felt really bad for the cat.
Well,
I really did. I was like, what happened to you, buddy? And also, where are your owners? And why are you here? Are you working out? Like, what's going on?
Okay, because see, if it's an ownership thing with the gym and surely you don't let the animals just run free.
That's what was happening.
You've got to have some kind of, facilities where they can play or do something, right?
I'm going back tomorrow, and so we'll see if the cat's there again. I'm kind of curious.
Maybe they have mouse problems.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just.
That's true.
It's a circle of life kind of thing.
I don't know. It was a situation where I was like, am I dreaming? What is this? Like, I thought somebody was maybe like pulling a prank or I don't know. It was just, it was bizarre.
But that is kind of weird.
Yeah, a little weird. But that's just like a little insight into what it's like to be me. Just stumble across things and I'm going, is this normal? What's happening?
Okay, so we're going to transition out of that.
I don't know how you do. We can just say we're stopping about this. We need to talk about this.
And we're going to talk about honoring God in your parenting and how and what that looks like coming up. So get your cat, go get a beverage, hang out. We'll discuss momentarily. All right. So but that's still real strange.
Is it not?
That's strange.
I told you, I was like, it's not necessarily a funny story. It's just weird.
It's not like sketchy though. The place you go to work out. I mean, it's a professional looking.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's just, I just didn't see that coming. Yeah. I was just like, this is not an area where a cat would normally be.
Right.
But okay.
Yeah. So, do you know the owners at all?
No. I walk in, walk out. I don't make eye contact with anybody.
Why am I not surprised? Okay, so All right. I'll bring it back. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, it's Stephen Bethany's Hopecast rolling on this week. Thank you for your company and joining us, whether you're listening on your phone or a smart speaker, however you're
doing it.
Thank you for that. Now, coming up for our patrons on Patreon. Okay, again, is it Patreon or Patron or patrons?
No.
Or patrons. How do you pronounce those website?
It's Patreon.
It's Patreon.
And then the people that are there are the patrons.
Okay. So, yeah, because the Patron, I was a joke. That the Patron is the alcohol.
I got it.
Okay. Well,
I thought you didn't get it. I was like.
It was just it was a momentary
Do I need to bring up the Google what that is?
It was a momentary attempt to be funny. Okay. So, anyway, for those of you that are on our subscription side,
yes.
the Patron, the Patreon. No, I'm kidding. The Patreon. So we're going to have for you the aftercast immediately following this episode, and we're turning it over to Caleb, to Jarvis.
I feel confident.
Okay, I guess I had an idea. I texted him earlier, and of course he just didn't pay attention at all to the text. No. He just blew it off like, he saw that it was for me. It was like, I've got better things to do.
He was in meetings.
So anyway, when we get here, I said, hey, did you get my text? And he was like,
you hear me trying to defend you, Caleb? I'm trying.
So we said, okay, come up with whatever. Yeah. We're going to tie it to talking about parenting. So you come up with whatever. So we're going to be surprised.
I'm excited about this, and I'm very confident. I think he's going to come up with something good.
My idea was pretty good, but we'll see what his is.
Oh my gosh! Stop.
So that's immediately following our Hopecast here for those of you on Patreon, Stephen Bethany's Hopecast. So we're going to talk today about honoring God. We've continued the last few weeks in this like little series of podcasts of how we can honor God in different ways in our walks of life in different areas and stages of life.
Because we started with engagement. That's kind of where we started with it, of how do you honor God through that time of engagement? Because it is a little weird, it's different than dating, and it's not marriage. And so it's just this kind of awkward stage almost in a relationship. And so what does that look like? Last week we talked about marriage and just what we've learned. You've been married almost 23 years. I've been married almost 3 years. And so there's this gap between us and just different things that we've learned in that time. And then this week we're going to be talking about parenting. Next week we'll be touching on singleness and just how every person, no matter what your relationship status is, can glorify God in your life. And so whether you're dating somebody or you're not, whatever that looks like, we'll just be talking about glorifying God in your life.
Well, let's jump in to parenting right now, and let's talk about what it really looks like to glorify God with you as a parent of some of these little bitty creatures that God has blessed you with. Because I know parenting can be such an overwhelming thing for a lot of people, even people that I would think, well, they won't act like that, because some people are they get the news, you're going to be a parent, and they're just like in this hyper mode of, I've got a little person I've got to take care of. And now all of a sudden they put all the weight of the world on their shoulders. It's like, I've got to provide for this person. I've got, that kind of thing is stressful enough as it is.
Right.
And I don't think that's a healthy way to start out trying to be a parent. I mean, I know there's a lot of anxiety that would come with it, but for me and my wife, it was just kind of the next step in our marriage.
Yeah. So you weren't like at all freaked out when you found out that you were going to be a parent?
No. Not
really?
At all. No. And I've been a parent now. It'll be 20 years this summer.
Okay.
And so, no, not really. It was just like I kind of think the next step in our marriage. I mean, we had done a lot of things that we wanted to do. We thought we had a good start as far as honoring God in our engagement. We did a lot in our ceremony itself to make sure that people knew that God had brought us together and that God had blessed us, and we wanted to turn around and give that back to Him. And then now, as we moved on a couple of years, we started talking about, having kids. And my wife she has a brother, but she comes from a family that has a lot of kids and a lot of tight-knit family where grandparents are always around and always around their cousins and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Me, not so much. I was an only child.
Right.
And so that was a little bit different. She had a little bit different ideas of parenting or of how many kids she wanted and all that.
Did you want more kids or less kids than she did?
I don't know. I think that kind of is a funny story.
Yeah.
Because we got, the first one was the boy.
Right.
Then we had a couple of year break and we had the girl, and we're like, hey, this is good. We got one of each.
We're done.
Everything's rolling along and it's fine. And yeah, we're done. And then my son was 13 and my daughter was almost 10 when we decided we were going to have another one.
Yeah.
Or I don't know that we decided that, but it just kind of.
The Lord decided you were going to have another one.
Yeah. And we agreed wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
That's fine. But having said all that, and you get into where you're going to start being a parent, what is some of the ways that you can glorify God? The first thing I came up with, and I talked to my wife about this, is the fact that your kids can't be your whole life. And I see that so much. And I'm not talking about people that are outside of church. I'm talking about people that we know that are super faithful, super Christians, that they talk about how their kids are their whole world.
Yeah.
And their whole life revolves around their kids, whether it be recitals or sporting events or, you fill in the blank.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they become consumed with their kids and everything going on. Now, look, I understand that, and I understand how quickly that can snowball, especially with multiple kids. You want to be able to encourage passions, and you want to be able to give them a chance to try new things. Like my son I remember wanted to start Cub Scouts, and he got into it for a little while, but it wasn't for him. And that's okay. Some parents are very stickler about, hey, if you start something, you got to finish it, blah, blah, blah. And then some are, hey, you must go do this. You must try it. And I get all that. But my thing is, I think parents, and my wife said this too, the most important relationship that they should see is, number one, you as a parent's relationship with God. Number two is if you're married, with your spouse.
Yeah.
And then they should know that they are number three. It's like what we talked about with the love triangle last week.
Yeah.
When you talk about a successful marriage, it's you and your spouse climbing closer to God brings you closer to each other, or closer to God brings you closer to each other. Well, the same thing applies for your kids, that the closer you and your kids get to God, the closer you'll be. But it's got to be from an area of, hey, God's first, spouse is second, you're third. And I know that's kind of difficult to hear sometimes because we all love our kids, and our kids are so innocent, and our kids need to be brought up in a way. But there's this fine line, and look, I don't get it right all the time, but there is a line between you're wanting them to be kids, you're wanting them to experience things, and you be the leader and the guide, but you're also training them up to be adults. You're training them to a certain point that they don't need you anymore for things. I mean, your whole job as a parent is to give them the wings that they need to fly out of the nest.
Yeah. I think a way that I saw that kind of played out just when I was growing up is my parents weren't perfect, but they did a really good job of what you're saying, making sure that we knew that we were third, but in a good way. Like,
right, yeah.
I always knew how much my parents loved me, but it was also very clear of, when we go to church, you sit there and you pay attention and you listen. That's important because mom and dad take their relationship with Christ seriously. And therefore, when we as kids got saved, you take your relationship with Christ seriously. And so when you're in church, you're quiet and you listen. And I remember being, 4 years old and sitting there, and my mom was sweet. She was understanding. She's like, "You're 4. I don't expect you to take sermon notes and just, be able to recite the whole sermon back to me when we get in the car." But she was also very intentional about making sure that I, had like a coloring book or something where I had something to do, but I was also paying attention, and it was also learning to be quiet and learning to listen, just kind of a life skill, honestly. And I think I saw that too with my parents' relationship. My parents were very intentional about making sure that they went on date nights, because there's one portion in my parents' marriage, I remember them talking about, where we were involved in all kinds of things. We were doing sports, we were doing co-ops, we were doing just, different activities. And my mom homeschooled all of us. And so we were very active in the homeschool community, and there's a lot going on. And my parents kind of reached a point where they were like, we can't just be business partners in this house, tag teaming out. trying to get the kids, all where they need to be. We need to be putting an effort in our relationship and growing. And so after that point, my parents, I don't remember if it was weekly or every other week, but they would go out for coffee. They would be gone for like an hour and a half. They would bring in a babysitter. And I remember just that kind of sticks in my mind of my parents were aware of the kids are kind of taking over our schedule. We need to bring some of this back and we need to spend time together.
I think that's an amazing point that you just made, because that's where I was going with that as well, is the fact that, let me ask you, because instead of me talking about it, let me ask you from the child's perspective. When you see your mom and dad being intentional about their marriage, what did that do to you? What, as far as what to look for in like a husband, or how I'm supposed to look for a relationship just in general, Yeah,
I don't think it ever made me feel like less important. I just understood like their mom and dad, they need to be good.
Right.
They need to be good so we can all be good, because you, as a kid, you feel it. If your parents are out of whack, if there's some tension going on, like you feel it and And so I think as a kid, I just felt, this is something that mom and dad need to do as maintenance to keep their marriage strong and keep it in check and keep it good, because, marriage is work. And we talked about this last week. Like, you need to put in the work if you want it to work. And so I think as a kid, I never felt like, oh, mom and dad are just ignoring us. Like, I didn't feel that at all. But I feel like it gave me an idea of, okay, whenever I get married, whenever that time comes, I'm going to need to be intentional about how I spend my time. And am I putting other things above my spouse? Obviously, Lord first, but am I putting, work? Am I putting other relationships and just other things that I can spend my day on over time talking with my husband and making sure that our relationship is good and that, we're communicating clearly, all of that stuff.
Because I want to go back to something you said as well about your parents when they reached that point, when they realized they were just tag team partners. Just between, okay, Bethany's got to be here, Aaron's got to do this, Heidi, or not Heidi, but Mariah. Heidi's the sister-in-law.
Yeah.
But Mariah's got to do that, right? So it's all of a sudden all about them.
Yeah.
Now it's all about the kids. Because what happens if you continue to play that out? You guys grow up, you guys move out of the house, and now all of a sudden you got a stranger that you're spent the last 25 years with, but not really getting to know, but only just kind of being a tag team partner.
Well, and what's interesting is it's interesting that you say that, because they've done plenty of studies where divorce rates spike after the last kid leaves, because the last kid leaves the nest, and what you're saying, suddenly you're looking at this person that you've been married to for 25 years and you're like, I don't know them. I don't know what this is, because you've made your whole life all around parenting and all around the kids, rather than all about Christ, all about the marriage, and then all about the kids, like having it in order. And that doesn't mean, I don't think, that you love your kids less than you love your spouse.
No,
I think it's
absolutely
just
not.
very different. It's a different kind of love.
It's a moving target a lot of times, because it'll seem like, well, your kids will need more of you at this stage, and then your spouse will need you more here, and then obviously you're always going to need to spend more time with God, because we don't ever always get that right.
Right.
But you've got to be aware of that. You've got to make sure that you're mentally aware that okay, and check yourself. Is my priorities? Am I doing God, spouse, kids? All the time, because if not, it's so slippery of a slope, because it's so easy to get caught up in just doing all the kids' activities.
Yeah.
And you get to the point where you are just running like crazy and you're like, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah.
That's so easy to fall into. And if you're not careful, so I think you've got to check yourself all the time.
Well, I feel like it's really more of like an identity thing, because you're finding your identity even unintentionally. You can like look up one day and be like, if I'm not a mom, what am I? Or if I'm not a dad, what am I?
Yeah.
And I find myself, I need to be careful about that, even just in being a wife. Like this person that I met, that I married, changed my life and, made my life different. And so I think it's important to not get caught up in that new role that we have to the point where that's all we are, rather than, I'm a son or a daughter of Christ and I'm found in him, in that relationship with God. That's where my identity is. And, going there rather than, okay, I'm a mom, and so I have to think about my kids all the time. And that's, and then if the kids grow up and go to college and they're not there anymore, you really are at a loss of yourself, because you've been one thing and defined by one thing for, a certain number of years or whatever.
And here is the good news. Okay. We talk about that and we talk about how easy it is to get in over your head and just running crazy. The really easy way to check yourself is to always go back to God and always say, okay, Father, let's get this straight. And here's the cool thing. God, when you spend time with God, all this stuff works out. It's not like we have to put extra on ourselves to make sure. Once we get that relationship and that priority correct, everything else works out. It's amazing how God will take our obedience of just wanting to spend time with him and turning that into working out the things that need to be worked out and putting priorities in its place. We get number one right, everything else works out. It's just amazing how that happens. And if you're kind of listening to us and wondering, well, okay, you start talking about all this, what kind of scriptural basis do you have for this? I love Deuteronomy chapter 6. That's where Deuteronomy is talking about how, it's set, talking obviously to the nation of Israel, but how they came out of Egypt and what God has done for them. And you talk about it with your sons and your daughters, and you talk about how good God has been for you and in your family. And you talk about it when you're working, and you talk about it in your house, and you talk about it when you're rising up and when you're going to sleep. Yeah. It's such a beautiful chapter of how to parent and how to honor God through the parenting. And I'll give you a perfect example of it. It even happened last night on our way to church. Our church still meets on Sunday nights. I know not a lot of them do, but we were on the way, and my 6-year-old is in the back, and he's like, Dad, I don't want to go to big church. And I was like, why not? He said, I just don't understand what they're saying. I don't get it. I don't understand. Why should I have to go if I don't understand? And I said, okay, here's what you do. In your own little way, I want you to ask God to show you something. Pray and ask God that he will show you something you don't know. Even if it's just something little bitty, ask him and see what happens, And so he told me he was going to do that. And so I haven't circled back with him to find out exactly if anything happened with that. But that is what it's talking about. When you're talking about honoring God and always looking for those teachable moments, there's always moments to be able to pass along to your kids why you're following God. Yeah. You can't expect them to honor God if they don't see it in your life, but not only not see it, but when you talk about it as well, you've got to bring it up.
And I think it's important too to know that, every family is going to be different. And so how each family works, I think it's so unique to hear how different people were raised because everybody's different, and what's normal in one family is not going to be normal in another. And I think it's important to just look at what worked, what works in your house. Yeah. Obviously, under the umbrella of what is scriptural, what does the Bible tell us about being parents, but what's going to work, because everybody's kids are different. You're involved in different things. And so you can't look at another family and be like, oh, well, they're perfect and they do everything right, and they're just always doing this and whatever. We should try and do that. Because I don't think there's like a one size fits all for parenting. I can say that as somebody who's not a parent. No, so I'm going to just say that. But I think it's important to not put pressure on yourself to fit into some mold of parenting.
No, I think you're 100% right, because I am a parent and I have been for a long time now.
I'm just a dog mom. That's all I got.
But that's exactly right, because we are given principles in Scripture of what to do as parents and how to raise godly kids. But the details are every day, and sometimes they change. But the principles are still there. The things that work. Your kids are different. Your kids were made by God as an individual. Yeah. Even if you have a set of twins, one twin is going to be completely different personality-wise than the other. And they share all the same DNA practically, right? Yeah. But when you realize that, and you just realize, hey, it's a day-to-day process. There's going to be days you don't get it right. And I think another big key is to go to your kids and ask for forgiveness. Hey, Dad blew it. I really messed up today. I'm sorry because I lost my temper with you, or I lost my temper with your mom, or I lost my temper at a situation. It's on me. I apologize. Yeah. I've gone to God. I've made it right with God. I want to make it right with you. Yeah. Making sure they see that. And again, as we say, talking to them when those teachable moments come up. Well, Dad, why do I have to go to church? Why do I have to listen in church? I don't understand what they're saying. That kind of thing. Find a teachable moment like that. That's the way to honor God. And again, to understand that these things we're talking about are the overall thing is this is a blessing. God has given you this person to raise and to know him and to love him. And here's the thing, he loves them more than you ever could.
Yeah.
So whatever goes on, just know that he's there for you and that he wants you to keep him first, and he'll work everything else out. I mean, I know that sounds too simplistic sometimes, but I'm telling you, if you get that first relationship right, you're going to do fine as a parent. I think that was good.
Nicely done, yeah.
I think that was good.
That was good.
All
That
right.
when you said blessings from the Lord, that reminds me, last week at church, I heard this lady, she goes, where are those little blessings from the Lord? Where are they? She was trying to find her kids, and she was like, where are they?
That's funny. That's funny.
All right.
All right. So,
All right, so you want me to bring it back, do Tees for Bibles?
yeah, just do a quick little thing, and then
Yeah.
we'll talk about the newsletter.
Cool.
All right.
Well, I thought it was so good what Steve shared, just talking about how we can glorify God through being parents and how we can play that out, keeping God first, spouse second, kids third. And I just think that's so solid and so good. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I don't want to leave out single parents.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I have been a single parent for, like tops 48 hours. You know what I mean?
And it's the worst.
It is
it's really hard.
Hardest job that there is. And first of all, let me just let you know that, look, whatever the situation, however you became a single parent, that doesn't matter right now. Still wanting to glorify God. I think the principles we talked about still matter and still mean the same.
Yeah.
When you're seeking God first, I know it's so much harder when it's just you and you have to be mom and you have to be dad.
Yeah. Doing the roles of two parents.
Right.
I can't imagine that.
I can't imagine it either. So God is, I just have this impression of God seeing those single parents and giving them an extra shot of whatever it is they need. We all get that.
Yeah.
But I think God has just a special heart and a special thing for single parents to be able to do the things that they need to do. So I don't want you guys thinking, well, you talked all about spouses and you just talked. Look, you guys are so important to raising those kids that you have. You got to continue on doing what you know is best, even though it's hard, and a lot of times I know sometimes you don't get support from the other one if it's a divorce situation. But look, you are rock stars and we love you and we're going to support you every way we can. And always, but I think the principle still works. Still always go to God first.
Yeah, I was going to say the calling is still the same, no matter what it looks like. If you're married, if you're not, if you're a widow or a widower or a divorcee or whatever, however that looks in your life. I think it's important to know that the calling is still the same. If you are a follower of Christ and you have read the Bible and you know what it says about parenting, that's for you too. There's nobody left out in this. I think the calling is still the same and the impact that you can have in a kid's life is still the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we are so appreciative for all of you single parents that are out there just grinding away and doing such amazing work and amazing job. Because I'm telling you, I can't do it. I could, it was so hard those brief little times that I've had to do it in 20 plus years.
I can imagine you sitting in like the middle of your living room being like, this is the worst.
Yeah.
I can't do this. Jana, come back.
Absolutely. And she's just gone, overnight somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. But so we appreciate you guys. And we want to also mention real quick that there's a statistic like 90% of the world's population that are Christians don't have access to a Bible. So in our own little Stephen Bethany Hopecast way, we want to try to bridge that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
It's Tees for Bibles. We've got merchandise on sale at our website. We've got a link in the show notes here. You just go there, check out the different sizes,
There's
colors,
a bunch
styles.
of different styles. Yeah, bunch of different colors. And the proceeds all go to buy a Bible.
Absolutely. Every T-shirt sold means at least one Bible is sent out around the world to someone who really desperately wants it. So please jump on board and buy some merchandise so we can get Bibles in the hands of folks around the world.
We also have some other changes kind of coming up. We send out a newsletter every week called the Hope Blast. And so we send that out. It's got a bunch of different things in it, a bunch of just encouraging words for you. And I think it'd be a great way to kind of connect a little bit more to this community. We are changing a few things for the people that are patrons. And so for our Patreon members, they're going to be getting kind of a little mini devotional each month that we've written, that we've come up with, just what the Lord is putting on our heart and what we're feeling called to share. So we'll be doing that for the Patreon members, but for everybody else that gets the Hope Blast, we're kind of switching things up a little bit.
Yeah,
nothing too dramatic.
No, it's nothing dramatic. It's
bit.
just, I mean, we're about 9 or 10 months into this process of doing this, and we're finding out what works and what doesn't. So we've changed up some stuff with the email newsletter. Like we're putting in more kind of interactive stuff where you can watch videos and see some good news stories and that kind of thing, some fun little jokes and just little things like that.
Mostly dad jokes.
Mostly dad
Steve,
jokes, right? That I found that are just that are funny and something that we want you to be part of. So please sign up. It doesn't cost anything, and it is a great way to connect with us and be able to stay on top of all the contests, all the things we got going on. It sends it out one time a week, come right to your inbox. It's the Steve and Bethany Hope Blast. So please sign up for that. Again, the links is in the show notes. And I think today we did a good job of encouraging folks. I hope we did.
I hope so. And I really hope, too, that next week is going to be encouraging. Next week, we're going to talk about how to honor God through singleness. And so that can be a touchy subject for some people. I think talking about being single and, you know, whether you're happy about that or whether you're in a season of like, I want to be in a relationship. I want to have a marriage. You're kind of in that waiting period. It can be really hard to talk about. And so I'm excited for next week. But at the same time, I hope that people are encouraged by what we share and that, it's something that's not depressing for anybody to listen to.
And you know what else? I think maybe we could break it up over 2 episodes because there's so much singleness you could talk about in your quote unquote normal time, where you're in your 20s and maybe early 30s,
right?
And you're looking for that spouse and you're looking to start your family and everything versus a singleness where maybe you're past, say 30 years old, 35 years old, and you're still single, or maybe you're a divorcee, or maybe you're a widower or a widow, what those things look like. So we may even break that up over 2 episodes.
I think that's a good idea.
Just to be able to talk about that and how to honor God in those different areas of your life. Because look, we're certainly not experts in this, but the principles of Scripture are always there.
Right.
And we just want to encourage you with that. So, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. I think it was good.
Yeah.
I think it was good.
I'm saying that as not a parent, so I think it was good. I'm not a parent. I don't know.
Right. But I think these principles can help. And again, I can't overstate. Read Deuteronomy chapter 6.
Yeah.
That will be a great, if you're stuck and you're thinking, okay, I don't know what to do as a parent, read Deuteronomy 6. I think it's a great part for, or just a great
kind of a cornerstone.
Yeah, cornerstone for you as a parent. So check that out, Deuteronomy chapter 6. Okay, I think we're ready to say goodbye, right?
Yeah, I think so. We need to do our closing credits. Yes. We are classing this thing up.
Me.
Getting a little bit more professional. So you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Steve and Bethany's Hopecast is a joint production between us and Blue Stream Media. For our live and virtual event production to video production, Blue Stream Media really does it all. So check them out, bluestreammedia.com. That's BLU. BlueStreamMedia.com.
TJ Nichols is the owner of Blue Stream Media. He's also the one that cracks them up around here. We call him the executive producer. Caleb Reese is over there. He is Jarvis. He's the one that is our manservant and does all the things we need.
Don't call him a manservant.
Well, that's what we need him to do.
More than
he
that.
edits, he technical produces, he switches the cameras for
He's the best.
Those that are on page. Yes, he is. He's the best, and he's not paid nearly enough. And again, as always, the contents of these episodes are put together by Bethany and I and are fact-checked by absolutely no one.
Absolutely no one.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Good night, Olive Branch.
All righty. Hold on.
The harp sound effect.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Aftercast.
Welcome in,
patrons.
All right. I'm taking the headphones off. I don't necessarily need to hear
Really?
this, do I? Do I need to hear it? Maybe I do.
We're going to have...
that's right. We need
to hear him.
I do need to hear him. Okay,
if your ears are getting sweaty, you can take them off.
Kind of. Well, I didn't want to say that, but that's kind of what's happening. It's like, okay, you go to church with your mask on, right?
Right.
Okay. You're in the middle of service. Mouth is just sweating. It's just
my word.
It's like the...
Have you ever seen Paul Blart 2?
Yeah.
Mall Cop?
Yeah.
There's a scene that I quote ever since we started wearing masks almost on the regular basis, like daily. There's a scene where he thinks a girl is flirting with him and she's clearly not. She's just being nice, but he thinks she's like hitting on him.
Right.
And he's like, your upper lip is sweating. Come on. So I say that almost every day. Your lip is sweating.
Well, that's the truth because I find myself, unbuckling just for a second, wiping the mouth.
Well, you just need a minute.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It's terrible. I don't know if it's better to breathe the nose or the mouth because it's terrible either way.
Except for those people. There are those people who will just pull it down past the nose. Well, that's not helping.
I saw somebody that had it just over their chin. I was like, yes, that is how COVID spreads. Here. Cover this.
I see that from time to time too.
Crazy.
I see that but I our pastor said, and I agree with him. I think when we finally say, okay, no more masks, as a society, we're done with all this. We're going to have you don't remember, but in like the real old days, whenever somebody would like pay off their car or pay off their like apartment or something, they would have a mortgage burning, and they would burn like the paper.
That's genius.
Paint. We're going to burn the masks.
I did that, or I didn't do that. I considered doing that when I graduated from high school, of setting my biology 2 book on fire.
Yeah.
I strongly considered it, but then I was like, man, these books are expensive. I can sell these, so didn't do it.
Right.
Didn't do it.
Well, there you go. All right, so we have turned everything over this week for the Aftercast.
Right.
To our man Jarvis, Caleb. Okay, so we talked about honoring God in your marriage. So the only guidelines,
parenting. We talked about marriage last week.
I'm sorry, parenting. Yes, yes. Parenting. The only kind of vague guidelines, just vague umbrella we gave him was marriage. Do something with
parenting.
Parenting. What's wrong with me? Maybe we should go back and do the parenting episode.
I don't know.
The parenting.
Parenting.
Yeah.
They can go hand in hand.
I guess so. So anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. So
parenting.
So Caleb, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So
don't
sound so excited.
What are we doing here? What are we doing this week?
We are doing Would You Rather Parenting Edition.
Oh, fun.
Okay.
All right.
So am I coming from the perspective of like a dog mom? That's where I'm going with this?
You can take this in a perspective of if you were a parent.
Okay. If I was a parent.
All right.
Okay.
Well, just before we get into all this, okay, you have done several things with Gus, your dog.
Yes.
On the Instagram stories. Classy Gus.
Classy Gus.
I've got, can I give you just a wee bit of criticism?
Yes.
A wee bit of critique?
Yes.
A little coaching?
Go ahead.
Okay. It started out, Gus was all about it. I have noticed on the last 2 videos, Gus's body language is like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Really?
I'm done, please.
Okay.
So I don't want it to end. I don't want it to break your heart or make you mad or anything like that, because Lord knows I don't want any of that. But secondly, I just think Gus is tired of it.
He might be.
He seemed to be.
You know who is tired of it?
Who's that?
Cody. He's real tired of it. But for everybody that doesn't know, so what I've been doing, I started doing this like a month ago. I turn on our fireplace almost every night. We have a gas fireplace and it's a light switch, so it's so easy. So I flipped that on. Gus has started sitting next to the fireplace, just laying down. And there was one night I thought, man, he just looks like a classy gentleman. Like he was perched up all nice, and he's a little miniature dachshund, so he's adorable. And I took a video of him and I put like some classy 1940s like jazzy music behind it. And I've continued to do that in the weeks leading up to today.
And again, I think Gus was all about it. I don't know whether he wants more treats.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly, but I think his body language
has gotten a little less interested.
His body language is like, let's not do this again.
This is the thing now. Like, I don't ever prop him up there. I wait until he goes up there and then I get a video. So it is very organic, but I think he's getting a little like, he knows when I get the phone out and he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
fine,
see, I think so. I think he's like, I don't want to perform on command.
Yeah.
What am I?
Maybe I'll take a break.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't want to blow the bit. I'm just saying, I just don't know that the talent is happy anymore.
This is what's funny though. People that never talk to me on Instagram, but that follow me, overwhelming response. Like I'm getting so many DMs of people being like, "Classy Gus, yes, this is the best." So yeah, so in some ways,
Classy Gus needs to, I don't know, have some more props or maybe a different setting or something.
Well, I've thought about putting him in clothes, except he hates them. Like I have a sweater for him and he hates it.
What about Gus on the road? Maybe Gus on a road trip.
He does like to stick his head out the window. He'll sit in our laps because he's barely tall enough to look out the window, and he'll kind of, he does do that. His ears like to flap in the wind. All right, enough of that.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, so we're ready now for the parenting edition of Would You Rather?
Would you rather?
Okay.
All right. Would you rather have a child who gets up 8 times during the night, but wakes up at 9 a.m., or a child who sleeps through the whole night but wakes up at 4:30 a.m. and has a foghorn for a voice?
A foghorn for a voice?
Just like, Mom!
Oh. I'm gonna say the one that gets up at 9 and gets up 8 times a night, because they don't say that it wakes me up. They just say that they get up. I don't care what they do.
Right.
Let me sleep. So that's what
are
I'm
we
gonna say.
talking about? We're not talking about child. We're talking about babies, right? Maybe, or infants, or
Child.
Oh, okay.
So Brett's age 6.
So I don't know, but see, but Brett doesn't do that. Brett, most nights he stays in his bed, but there'll be some nights he doesn't knock. He doesn't. He just goes straight in. He's got the bed we have is pretty high off the ground, but we have a hope chest at the foot of the bed.
So he crawls on that?
on a hope chest, and it gets in between us, and he's out. And so, and okay, that's not terribly bad. Okay, I don't mind it so much. But he sleeps on top of the covers, which means you can't pull the covers up to you. It just drives me.
Okay, again, I'm saying this as somebody that doesn't have a kid, but
No,
I don't think so.
Well, yeah, you just
that's
wait.
my ability to pull the covers is very important to me. I can't sleep unless I have the covers around my ears. Like they have to be up, so they can't be doing that.
Well, all right. Well, we'll just wait. I'll remind you of this. We'll flag the tape. And when Bethany has,
a 6-year-old, bring it back up.
All right, next one.
Would you rather watch Max and Ruby for a month straight or never watch television again?
What is Max and Ruby?
Wow, really?
What is that?
Max and Ruby, Dave and Ava, it doesn't matter.
Max and Ruby were bunny rabbits.
Okay.
And their parents were never around. They were always, Ruby was always babysitting Max. And they would always get into these hijinks. It's terrible. It's an awful show.
Okay. Is it worse than what's that one?
Callaloo?
Callaloo. What's his name?
Callaloo, right? Isn't that the PBS show?
Callaloo. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about? He's the worst.
Okay, they've canceled him, but they've also canceled Max and Ruby, I think. Okay. So never watch TV again, or Max and Ruby what?
I do Max and Ruby for a month. I'll just put through it. Yeah, I'll just get through it.
Yeah, I would have to just bear through it.
Yeah.
Although Max and Ruby is terribly bad.
I don't know, that one Kalu kid or whatever his name. When I was babysitting in high school, some kids that I babysat watched that show, and I put an end to it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry, do whatever you want when I'm not here, but for the 2 hours that I'm watching you all, we're not watching this. This is terrible.
What's next?
All right. Would you rather have your child tell you they've made up their mind and they're going to be a cliff jumper when they grow up, or tell you that they've made up their mind and they're going to live with you forever when they grow up?
Cliff jumper.
Well, I've always told my kids they can live in the house for as long as they want to, as long as they pay rent. Once they get to a certain age, go get a job. You can stay here as long as you want to.
That's a good idea.
So I'm down with that. Cliff jumper, no.
I'm gonna say cliff jumper because that'll probably change by the time that they grow up. So that doesn't.
I love how Bethany has an exception to every would you rather.
Right. I know.
That's true.
All right, next one. Would you rather buy your kid a new car for their 16th birthday, or have your kid refuse to get their license and be stuck driving them around?
So get a car.
I am in that boat right now. My daughter turned 16 here in just a few months.
In April, right?
May. But she has yet to want to drive at all, really. Now, I'll take that back. There's a couple of times she's driven in the parking lot at church while I'm like in a meeting or something with my wife in the car. And that's a whole secondary
I was going to say,
thing.
who is going to be a better teacher, you think?
Oh, there's no question I'm the better teacher. My wife will tell you that I'm the better teacher because my wife will scream at the children driving all the time. Stop! Break! You're going to kill us!
See,
all the time.
My mom wouldn't yell, but she would just go like this.
Ew, no.
Like lots of inhales. Like she would just get so nervous and she would go like that and tense up and make me nervous.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Well, if you're teaching someone to drive, you have to no-sell. You just can't let it bother you.
Yeah.
Even though you're panicking on the inside.
Right. Keep the panic inside.
Keep it all inside. Keep it locked away.
I'm going to say get them a car for their 16th birthday because I think it's a life skill. They need to learn how to drive.
I agree. My daughter just has not shown any interest yet. She's going to be 16 and she doesn't want to get her permit, her license, nothing. Yeah. So, and I said,
She'll told her,
there. I know, but I've told her, I said, the invitation is open. Anytime you want to go drive, we'll go up to because I got yelled at for when I was teaching my son for driving like out on actual streets and actual traffic.
What are you doing?
Well, we drove home one night from church.
No. No.
Thank you,
They are
Caleb.
unlicensed. That's against the rules. And no.
How else are they going to learn?
In a parking lot.
Interstate or anything.
Well, no, actually I did.
Steve!
I took them out from, well, it was
On
just
the
between.
interstate?
Yeah.
No.
Well, how else are they
That's
going to learn how to travel on
illegal.
the interstate?
That's illegal.
Well, I
Let 'em go.
got yelled at from my wife. This is
Yeah,
nothing
if I
new.
was your wife, I'd yell at you too.
So I told my daughter that we could go. There's plenty of schools in Cabot, so there's like tons of parking lot space
yeah.
we can
Just
go through.
Go
And-
60 in a parking lot. That's fine.
Yeah.
If it's empty, no people around, that's fine.
All right, what's next?
All right, last one. Would you rather pay for incredibly expensive lawn care service or have a pushy in-law move in to help with the baby?
Mercy.
Oh gosh.
I don't have incredibly expensive lawn care service, but I love the lawn care service. That's one of the best investments.
We already have lawn care service.
That's one of the best investments I did. But
Yeah.
but the other situation is have a pushy in-law
move in.
move in.
Yeah, lawn care.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, my kids are all grown up. I'm not going to have any more of these babies. But
You say that.
yeah, I would have to go the
Yeah.
expensive lawn care.
My in-laws are watching too, so I
Right.
need to say, like, I mean, I wouldn't mind you taking care of the baby, but I don't. Yeah.
Well, because here's the thing:
Don't move in.
if you move in, it's automatically at some point going to be the friction. I mean, you
Right.
felt some of that friction when you had your mom and dad and your brother and
Well,
sister-in-law.
it's just,
Didn't you feel?
it's
I
ju-
mean,
it
it's just
wasn't friction. I would just say it's just people. It's just like there's just people
this
in
is my house. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just people in your house.
even though you love these people.
Yeah.
Even though you want to be around these people.
And I
these
think-
people gave birth to you.
Yeah, I think it was more of it wasn't friction. It was just like it was just like, okay, there's just people around all the time. Like it wasn't as quiet as it normally is, and that threw
space.
me off. Just space. Yeah. But lawn care service. Hands
I think
down.
so. I think those are. All right, thank you, Caleb. That was very
Was
good
that
of your
it?
part.
Was that the
Yeah, I
last
think that's the
question?
last question. That's the last one.
I think
so.
those are good.
I think those are good too. But
I hope that I don't have to face any of those hypotheticals whenever I become a parent.
yeah, those are pretty tame.
Really?
There's a lot. Yeah. But again, look, people psych themselves out of parenting. It's one day at a time.
Yeah.
You got to take it as it comes.
Also, I forget who told me this. I think it was maybe my dad. He was like, nobody just gets a baby dropped in their lap. You have 9 months to prep for it. Like the Lord knew what he was doing when he when with all that stuff of like, this is how long it'll take. Like you have 9 months to prep emotionally for it.
Well,
it'll still throw you off,
yeah.
but it's not like somebody just shows up and goes, here, this kid is yours. You know what I mean?
No, not well. I mean, I guess I for the mom gets that whole prep time.
Dad doesn't.
That not really. I mean, because
Oh,
you're
okay.
experiencing as the mom all the baby moving and kicking and the
Yeah,
whole
that's
thing,
true.
and then you go through the delivery process. For dad, it does. It shows up. It's just you didn't have it when you went to the hospital, and now you're
And now
coming
you
home
got
with
it.
it. You know.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that's kind of stressful on
that's
that.
true.
But
That's
I
true.
will say that if you just take it as it comes and realize, hey, it's not brain surgery. You know what I mean? It's not.
That needs to be like the something on something on a t-shirt, bumper sticker, something.
Parenting's not parenting.
It's not brain surgery.
It's not brain surgery.
It's not that hard.
Hey, maybe that is a new shirt.
There we
for
go.
T's for Bibles.
I don't know.
All right, so
Man, well, we love you guys. The
Yes.
patrons are always so fun and encouraging, and we just appreciate all that you guys are doing and how you support the podcast. Be sure to tell your friends if you think that they would like the Hopecast to join the patron family and be a part of it.
and if you should happen to have any leads of people business-wise that dig the Hopecast that maybe would want to sponsor an episode or two, we would love to talk to you about that as
Sure.
well, to be able to help them help their business, because we got a great growing audience and you guys are just awesome. So thanks for spreading the word. Thanks for being here. Look, we're almost a full hour today. So thank you for your time too.
Thanks,
We
guys.
love you guys. Bye.